taking this tour with me. Cheers, everyone. I'm going to tell you the history of SweetWater. SweetWater is founded by two college students, Freddy Bensch and Kevin McNerney. And what do you do in college?
Learn stuff.
Drink beer.
Chase girls.
Well, you study and drink beer, right?
Oh, no, I didn't do
Well, they decided that they would volunteer at local microbreweries around Boulder, Colorado. And they decided that they liked making beer so much, they thought they would do it on their own. Believe it or not, you do have to have a degree to make beer. It's called fermentation of science. They went out to UC Davis in California, got their degree. After they got their degree, they needed to find a great location to make their beer. They knew what kind of beer they wanted to make. They knew they wanted to make an aggressive pale ale. They just didn't know the right location. Were you guys here in 1996 in Atlanta? Do you guys know what's happening in 96 in Atlanta? All right, well, the Olympics are here. We had the 96 Olympics here. Freddie came over here to the Olympics, saw that Atlanta was suffering from microbreweries altogether, so he called up Kevin, said, Kevin, pack up your bags, come down here, and we'll start our thing here. And from there, they got $900,000 in loans from the government and from friends and family. They built their facility off of Fulton Industrial, which kind of near the Six Flags location. It was about a quarter of the size. The first beer they made was February 17th, 1997. It was an English bitter. An ESB is a more technical term for it. The second beer that they made was the Blue, and what they did was they packed up their van with their kegs and their beer, and they went to local festivals and local universities, went up to college kids and asked them for a free beer, and who doesn't want a free beer? Come on, everybody wants a free beer. Cheers, yeah? That's how they got their name across. The name SweetWater was actually started by the SweetWater Creek or river that was located near the first facility. They were at that facility for 7 years. They've been at this facility for 3 years, coming on 4. It'll be 4 years this year. Do you have any questions?
And so where did the term 420 come from?
The term 420 is actually Kevin's mother's birthday. It's also the day we brewed 420. You can always get your own idea about 420. It's a great question. Of course, our number 2 selling beer is Blue. It's got the aroma of blueberry. Call it our breakfast beer. The reason why I call it our breakfast beer is because it's got the blueberry pancakes and a beer. If you ever have a hangover and you need something to tide you over, I always like to drink a Blue just to get me through the day. Because everybody knows it's hard to get over a hangover. We also have the IPA. I don't know if you guys know this, but IPA got its name. India Pale Ale is a real technical term. India Pale Ale got its name from when England was trying to colonize India. Their beer was really bad on the long sail to India. So they learned that dry hopping, or adding hops to the fermentation process, acted as a pasteurizer, so their beer wouldn't go bad. So that's where the dry hops term comes from, and that's how we get the hoppy aroma of the IPA. We also have the Georgia Brown. It was also known as our Sweet Georgia Brown. It was an old 45. We named our beer after it. It's an English net ale. We dropped the sweet after people got kind of confused with the name Sweet Georgia Brown. They thought it was going to be something sweet like a Blue. So we dropped the name, and now it's our Georgia Brown. It's one of my favorites. It's a great winter ale. We also have the Hummer. That's another year-round. It was called the Summer Hummer. It's kind of like our road trip. It was a catch-and-release beer. It's a Hefeweizen. It's a wheat ale. It's made with orange peel and coriander. It's a great beer. It's a great beer to sit by the pool with and just hang out with your friends. We also have the Catch and Release series. We have 4 of those. Right now we have the Happy Ending. Our Happy Ending is our Imperial Stout. It's very rich. It's got a very rich aroma and flavor. It's got a lot of chocolate, a lot of chocolatey textures to it. We also have the Festive, which comes out around Christmas time. The festive has nutmeg and cinnamon to it, so it's got that very rich, chocolatey goodness. I just love sitting by the fire and drinking a festive. We also had 2 new catch releases in 2007. We had the Road Trip, was our Pilsner Ale. It's a little bit more hoppier than the actual Pilsner. It's got a little bit more bite to it because it has such hops flavor to it. We also have an Oktoberfest beer. It's called our Donkey Punch. It's our barley wine. It was brewed for the first time this year. It's excellent. It's probably the best barley wine I've ever had in my whole entire life, and I'm not biased at all. Maybe a little bit.
Of course not.
But the Donkey Punch is a great additive to our collection of catch and release. Moving on. Do I have any questions?
Catch and release?
A catch and release is kind of, it's a seasonal beer. You know how we have 4 seasons, summer, winter, fall, spring. That's what our beer is about. We like to move with the seasons. We like to have our own aroma and flavor for each season of the year. Able to bring anybody back here just because we've grown so much. I just want to really give you the full perspective of what really happens back here. Is that okay? Alright. If you look out here, these are our silos. This is where our specialty grain and our 2-row grain are held. If you ever come to SweetWater Brewery, you can definitely smell the grain. To me, it smells something sweet, but to other people it might smell it smells different, but I love the smell. I've gotten used to it. These are our silos. You see these 3 big ones hold our 2-row. Every beer SweetWater uses 2-row. The last 2 are our specialty grain. This guy holds our hot water. That's our hot water heater. And you can see the skunk over here. Alabama farmers, we donate that to the Alabama farmers who have cattle. They use it for compost and feed. Coming inside, the grain will meet the mill room. In the mill room, it separates. The grain looks like a ear stalk, corn stalk. It'll separate that. From there, we have a 4-vessel brew house. The first vessel is our mash mixer. What the mash mixer does, the grain meets hot water. It's boiling temperature. It'll sit in there for about 1 to 2 hours. That's where we get our sugar water or our wort. From there, it'll go into the lauter. And what the lauter does, it segregates the sugar water, the sugar water from the grain. If you want to come this way. Lauter, that's where everything gets separated. From there it goes into the kettle. What the kettle does is that's where we add the hops. That's what gives us the aroma and the flavor of our beer, the taste. We can add hops up to 4 times depending what kind of beer it is. It'll sit in there, it'll cook for about 2 hours. Use cook very lightly. From there, it'll go into the whirlpool. What the whirlpool does kind of acts like it sounds. It acts as a centrifuge. It separates the wort from the hops. It's very loud, very noisy. From there, it'll go into these big guys. These are our fermenters. And this is my favorite part of the tour, just because the fermenters gives us alcohol. This is where the yeast is added.